Good morning. This is the Friday Fireside, and I'm here with Rob Bochicchio, president of Centriply, who is the owner of Tango Media Systems. Rob, how are you?
Good, buddy. Nice to see you. Good morning.
Good to see you. And it's finally cooled off a little bit, but that's probably temporary.
A little bit.
Okay. Now listen, um, Tango has some new news, and I want to make sure we get this right out, right up front. What just happened with Tango?
Yeah, excited to share that we just renewed with our longstanding partners, Sinclair, an AMP division within the Sinclair Group. Rob Weisbord and Greg Siegel came to us many years ago to help find them some solutions within their platforms and the way they worked across their station groups. And we helped them out a few years ago and renewed most recently with them. And we're excited to be continuing to work with them.
All
It's a
right.
really
Now
good work.
this is specifically for Tango, right?
That is, yes. So Tango's a part of Centrify, right? It's a software company that works directly with station groups, also with some holding companies and agencies as well.
Okay. So now that we know that Tango has been, and I know the Sinclair people,
Mhm.
tested in the fire, what does Tango do?
Many times.
What does
Uh,
Tango do?
so when you have a station group, owner group like Sinclair, that's 177 stations, 177 stations over 79, 80 markets. To aggregate those into multi-market buys is very, very difficult. And, the other people out there like Nexstar and Tegna all have those same issues. When they try to take multiple markets and have to do day parts across and try to do that in an efficient manner, many times it takes them days, if not weeks, to pull them together. Get the avails in, put them in an aggregated fashion, get naming conventions correct, Nielsen data organized in, be able to get buys back to their agency partners in a timely fashion. Sinclair came to us years ago and said, "We do it well, but can you help us do it faster, more efficiently, more accurately, underline accurately?" And we've helped them do that. And then, as you say, they're aggressive in what they like. So we've made some adjustments and changes as we've come along, and we just renewed again with some more enhancements. So, I think you can ask Rob and Greg. They're very happy in how it's working, and we've seen some really great success with them. Their business has grown from the day they started using the platform.
Now, my knowledge of local broadcasts, this applies to Sinclair and Nexstar and Gray and Tegna and Hearst and Scripps, is that as those stations change hands, and they do, okay,
Yeah.
you have a tendency to have one format used by one small group of stations and a different format used by another group of stations. And if you're sitting at corporate trying to organize a buy for everybody, it literally defines kludge. How do you clean that up for them?
So we have engineers in house that understand media. So you've been doing it as long as I have, right? The way we talk, the way we speak, the acronyms that we use, very confusing, very difficult. Take that to an engineer that doesn't understand media, have them write code to have efficiencies through these platforms that are now, to my words and what you just said, though, Frankensteined in
Yep.
from different groups into one, very, very difficult. Their process is slow. They end up having to wait to get all their buys loaded in so they can get RFPs out the door. And what happens to stations when they're slow? They lose share. You lose share, you lose revenue. It affects your margin. So simply, and I don't think any other way to put it, Tango allows the sellers to sell more, spend more time talking to their partners, and less time working in spreadsheets.
Now let's talk about you mentioned revenue here. One
Yeah.
of the big bugaboos in my own experience is unsold inventory, and there's an astonishing amount of it everywhere.
Mhm.
You had a sense of how much money local broadcasters might be leaving on the table by not selling the unsold media? How much of that could be?
I have a sense of it, talking to a bunch of different groups. I'm not speaking of one, I'm speaking of many, that it could be anywhere from 40 to 50% of their inventory goes unsold. And you can prove it just by watching broadcast television and see how many promos there are,
Yeah.
right? right? If you watch Paramount, you watch CBS, and you see how many times they keep promoting their own shows, some of that's unsold inventory, right? And you have different advertisers that would love to be able to have access to that inventory. Premium sells pretty well. Sports sells great. So does news. But there's a lot of the inventory that if it's not in that premium or first run look, it's a little harder to sell. So having something like a Tango software platform that allows the sellers to look at their unsold inventory, be able to make offers out there, do it quickly, and do it every single week to leave less money on the table. I don't want to sound like I'm selling, but it sells itself that way, pays for itself that way.
That's interesting. Okay, now what exactly does a broadcast group have to do to fire up Tango other than call you?
It's a few phone calls and conversations between how they control their ad inventory. So it could be Imagine, it could be Wide Orbit, it could be their own database, it could be any one of them, allowing us to have access into it. And after you get through all the legal part of it, then you have access to exactly live inventory on what's being sold and not sold. We don't price anything. We don't resell anything, right? We are just a software provider that allows their in-house group and their sellers to put their own inventory together and put it out in the marketplace as fast as possible in multiple proposals. I'll give you an example, right? Typically what happens, right? An agency calls or a seller talks to an agent and said, I got X client, I got a $200,000 buy against X number of impressions. Here are the parameters, go put it together. They fulfill. Wouldn't it be nice if it takes literally another 5 minutes to give them a second and third proposal that is 5% more, changing the day part mix a little, fulfill, and then add, right?
Well,
That's how you start to steal share with
let's
almost no extra time.
let's talk about stealing share. Today it means stealing share from digital, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you help a local broadcaster? And we are talking about linear television, okay, which some would feel is old-fashioned, except for the, tens of millions of people who are watching every day.
Yep.
It
Yep.
ain't that old-fashioned, gang.
It's still
How
there.
do you help them grab share back because they lost it? Grab it back from digital. How do you do that?
So I'd say the fastest way to answer that would be taking their inventory, understanding their own inventory as fast as possible, be able to respond as quick, both to proposals and making changes, right? Are we ever going to be, is anyone in the broadcast world or linear world ever going to be as quick and fast as digital? No, but they can keep up a lot better with the right software and the right ability by having the hands-on keyboard users understand their platform, in this case Tango, be able to move quickly through, answer proposals quickly, and be able to do them in various versions of inventory. Again, it could be day parts, it could be daytime, it could be unsold inventory that they want to get out the door. It allows for broadcast to be able to keep up and not keep losing, which is what I feel like. I think you can't read an article that talks about linear not losing more and more each and every year.
All right. Now, in terms of what the broadcaster is going to have to sell, all right. I'm a broadcast station. I'm an NBC affiliate. I get a little bit of time in prime time, which, by the way, doesn't even come close to paying my affiliate fees, be that as it may. I have news before that. I have news after that. I have syndication. I have daytime. I have odd bits and pieces, including daytime news. Do you help them with all of that?
That's one of the old phrases would be unwired, right? Pulling multiple things together in a wired up fashion, right? So if you wanted to do strip programming like early morning, noon news, evening news from a broadcast, which is premium for them, they invest a lot of money in their news programming. Be able to strip that all together and make a news opportunity out there to the partners across 50, 75, 100 stations. You can do that by controlling your inventory in a much more efficient manner, being able to aggregate it in a way that might be a little different than either an agency is looking for or a seller's looking to sell it. Be creative in how you want to go to the market. If you're a station owner and you're looking at your head of sales and you're saying, why do I have 40% still sitting there? Go look at your inventory in a way that you can package it out to agencies at advantageous pricing that still isn't going as ADU weight or promotional, but still getting some dollar for it. You can look at it that way. That keeps up with digital, which tries to keep up with digital, but allows people to look at their inventory in a different way than they do now.
Okay, now we're going to switch a little bit. The recently announced campaign finance rule decision has a lot of local broadcasters licking their chops about how much more money they're going to get.
Mhm.
But if they can't actually sell the inventory, it doesn't matter how much money the buyer has, they got to make it work. How quickly, first of all, somebody gets to you today, can you
Great
fire
question.
them up in time for the elections?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to just about every station owner out there. Some we're doing business with, some we're still talking to try to close, and some feel they have their own solution. Anyone that's operating, they have to look internally, right? They're gonna look at their internal engineering team and say, hey, can we take our own platform and the company we're just buying, bring them together, be able to take that inventory into a place where we don't miss a beat, let alone we're going into the fall, we're going into elections, and making sure we don't lose any pace. That in-house group is going to say yes, no problem. We know through having conversations that they struggle with that. They struggle with having different platforms try to communicate together. So having engineers write in code that allows to take easy access of multiple feeds into one and aggregate it back. So we could take 4, 5, 6 different types of inventory avails, bring them into our platform, and then put it back into one clean, cohesive look that their in-house team can put a proposal together in a matter of no time. And it's about accuracy too. It's about having confidence in looking at your pricing model that we don't set, it's their own pricing and Nielsen data, and be able to have or ComScore and have that be in so that you can get back proposals in a timely fashion and not lose revenue. That's going to be the hardest thing when these groups start to continue. I'm trying carefully not to name names, but when they all start to come together, that's going to be their biggest struggle. Some are having it right now, and they
Yeah,
didn't even merge yet.
we get
They're
that. I
living
know
in
who you're talking about.
Excel, Rick. Can you believe they're living in Excel today?
I know,
That's
I know.
it,
Okay, now, lastly, the buzzword everywhere, everywhere, everywhere is artificial intelligence. Okay.
mhm.
It occurred to us in an earlier conversation that for all intents and purposes, you are providing an internal AI capability for these broadcast groups. It used to be called machine learning, but the fact of the matter is, you're
Right.
not reaching outside. You are managing through that capability what they've got in all of their markets and all of their inventory. And I know of at least one broadcaster who's intrigued by that to get you into an AI work group to try to go through all that stuff. Am I getting that right?
No, you are getting it right. The machine learning is the precursor to AI, and we were machine learning for years, and now we take portions of what we do. We're not full AI. That would be misspoke, but we have good portions of our platform that runs through AI to move things faster, to be able to look at inventory, look at our own avails. I mean, to not get boring, but if you think about the different ways programs are named, we used to the show Two Broke Girls can be written 18 different ways. That ends up being a big problem when station groups try to roll that all together and get one avail back out. We smooth that that's just one simple example, but we smooth that process out to be able to make it efficient and be able to get those avails in and proposals out the door as fast as possible. They should know their own inventory better than they do because they get caught up in just slow, arduous platforms,
Yeah.
and then eventually put it in Excel, which
Yeah.
just really just baffles me.
Okay. Well, listen, Rob Bochicchio, thank you for your time, buddy. We've learned about Tango. We've learned about Sinclair. This is going to air in a couple of weeks. Take good care, buddy.
Thanks, Rick. Great to see you, buddy.
Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.